Remember that thrill? The first time you clicked a mouse, sent an email, or connected with someone oceans away? Tech felt like magic. But now, that spark is fading. What happened?
The problem: addiction, exploitation, stagnation. Tech promised progress, but instead it's draining our time, our joy, even our creativity. Are we the users or the used?
The hope. It's not too late. The tools aren't evil, but how we use them matters. Let's rediscover tech's true purpose. Not just convenience, but human flourishing. Ready to take back control? Let's dive in.
Do you remember that initial thrill of technology?
Oh, yeah. The real magic.
Exactly. Like, think back to '84, seeing a Macintosh for the first time.
With the mouse and everything, yeah. Something else.
It was mind-blowing, opening up totally new possibilities, or desktop publishing a few years later.
Right, in '87. Suddenly almost anyone could create professional-looking media.
From your desk.
Yeah?
And those early online services like The Well felt like a secret club, connecting globally.
It really did feel astonishing, didn't it? Captivating. Like, it was all pointed towards something better.
But lately, if you're anything like me, that magic, it feels like it's dimmed, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear that a lot too.
Technology, which once seemed like this amazing helper, can feel more like a burden sometimes.
Or even worse, yeah, it's a common feeling.
It really is. So the big question, I guess, is what happened? Where did that magic go?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's not just a vague feeling. There are real significant shifts behind it.
Okay, so let's dive into that. What's at the heart of this change? I've heard this term thrown around, enshittification. It's pretty blunt.
It is blunt, yeah. But it's kind of apt, unfortunately.
What does it mean in this tech context?
Basically, it describes the shift in focus.
Yeah.
Away from genuinely helping the user, making cool things for us, towards data harvesting, surveillance.
Right.
Think about programs that might get installed, using up your computer's power, collecting data, maybe without you even really knowing or consenting explicitly.
So it feels like we're not the customer anymore.
Exactly. That's the core idea. We've gone from being the beneficiaries to, in many cases, being the actual product being sold.
Wow, that's a stark way to put it.
It is, but it captures that dispiriting feeling, that loss of agency. You start to feel wary of the tools themselves.
Yeah, like a betrayal of that early promise.
Yeah.
But it's not just what the companies are doing, is it? It's also, how we engage with it all, the sheer volume.
Oh, absolutely. That leads us straight into digital overload and, let's be honest, addiction.
The numbers are pretty shocking when you see them.
They really are. The average person online, globally, is spending something like 2.5 hours just on social media every day.
2.5 hours.
And here in the US, people checking their smartphones? Estimates are between 50 and 80 times a day.
50 to 80 times? Wow. Is that just poor self-control on our part?
Mm-hmm.
Or is the design itself pushing us towards that?
It's definitely a mix, but the design plays a huge role. The whole economic model for many of these platforms relies on keeping you engaged.
Right, eyeballs on screen.
Exactly. And studies show that even if you give people temporary incentives to cut back on social media, the effect kind of lingers. It suggests the platforms are genuinely habit-forming.
So they're sticky by design.
Very sticky. And this brings up the self-control issue. Research actually shows that if you let people set limits on their future screen time, their usage drops significantly.
Interesting. So we kind of know we want to use it less?
It seems so. Self-control problems are estimated to be behind maybe 31% of all social media use. We struggle to stick to our own intentions.
31%? A lot. What's the actual impact of that struggle? Does it cost us anything beyond time?
Well, economists have tried to quantify it. For American social media users, these self-control issues could represent something like $19.2 billion a year in lost well-being or welfare losses.
$19 billion. That's staggering.
It puts a number on that feeling of time slipping away or value lost. But look, it's not all hopeless.
Okay, good.
Interventions do work. Things like setting screen time limits on your phone, they demonstrably reduce symptoms of smartphone addiction.
Not using it longer than you meant to. Doom scrolling when you're anxious.
Exactly those things. Or just finding it really hard to put the phone down. Setting limits helps regain some control, so agency is still possible.
That's encouraging. Okay, so we have the user side, the addiction potential, but what about the tech itself, the actual innovation? You mentioned shifts there too.
Yes, and this is where it gets really fascinating and maybe a bit counterintuitive for some.
How so?
There's a growing body of evidence suggesting that the pace of really foundational technological breakthroughs, the truly novel stuff, has actually been slowing down since around the 1970s.
Really? Slowing down? But we have AI and smartphones and...
Right. We see lots of improvements, refinements. But if you look at patent records, for instance, the focus seems to be much more on gradual tweaks to existing tech, rather than opening up entirely new scientific fields or inventing fundamentally new kinds of things.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Think about agriculture. U.S. corn yields saw huge growth for decades, but that growth rate has been pretty flat since the 1960s, even though far fewer people work in farming now. Suggests a slowdown in agricultural tech impact. Or infrastructure, building things. The actual cost per mile for interstate highways in the U.S.? It more than tripled between the 60s and the 80s, adjusting for inflation, getting more expensive to do the same basic thing.
That does seem backward, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We expect things to get cheaper and easier with tech progress.
Exactly. It suggests that the period from, say, 1870 to 1970, that incredible great acceleration
Driven by big corporations deploying new tech, global trade, new communication.
Precisely. That kind of transformative wave might not be happening at the same intensity now. The incentives today often favor safer, incremental improvements over the big, risky leaps.
So putting it all together, the magic feels dimmer because maybe the tech itself is becoming more about extracting value from us than providing new value to us. And maybe the truly groundbreaking stuff isn't coming as fast.
That's a pretty good summary of the concerns, yeah. Profit over people, addictive designs, and perhaps a less dynamic innovation engine.
Okay, that paints a clearer picture, albeit a slightly depressing one. But you mentioned wanting to look deeper, right? Beyond just these symptoms.
Yes. Because if we only focus on the problems, we might miss the bigger picture of what technology even is fundamentally. And for that, there's a really helpful concept we can explore. The idea of common grace.
Common grace, okay. For listeners not familiar with that term, maybe from theology. How does that help us understand, smartphones and AI?
Right. It sounds a bit disconnected at first, but basically, common grace is this idea of a sort of universal kindness or goodness woven into the world. It suggests that human minds, even in our messy, complicated reality, have these inherent gifts.
Gifts for what?
Gifts for insight, creativity, discovery. In arts, in sciences, across the board, even among people who wouldn't point to a divine source for it.
Okay.
So the insight here is that technological advancements, from the simplest hand tool to the most complex algorithm, can be seen as expressions of these universal gifts.
Yeah.
And they are fundamentally intended, in their essence, for the common good, for human flourishing.
So using robotics to ease backbreaking labor or developing a new medicine that fits this idea of common grace?
Yeah.
Even if the inventors aren't thinking in those terms.
Exactly. It's about seeing the potential within the technology, the way it can alleviate suffering, reduce toil, that curse of toil idea, and free us up for more creative, meaningful work. It recognizes the inherent goodness possible in human ingenuity.
That's a really different perspective. It's not just about human achievement, but seeing it as part of a bigger benevolent design.
That's the core of it, and this isn't a new idea. Thinkers for centuries like John Calvin or Abraham Kuyper argued that skills in arts and sciences are real gifts, and denying that would be, counter to common sense and experience. They saw human creativity, including technology, as part of fulfilling a purpose, even if done by people who don't share their specific beliefs.
Okay, but then we circle back to the enshittification, the addiction, the problems.
Yeah,
If technology is fundamentally this expression of a gift for good, how does it get so messed up?
and that's the crucial tension, isn't it? The flip side of the coin. Every gift, every power can be misused. It can be perverted by sin, by selfishness, by greed.
So the potential is good, but our choices corrupt it.
Precisely. The big risk is what you might call idolatry. We start to worship the creation instead of the source of the gifts. We glorify human genius as the ultimate power, or we put our absolute trust in technology to solve all our problems, provide all our meaning.
Right? Trusting the tool more than anything else.
Exactly. That's when we twist the purpose. Technology itself isn't the problem. It's a powerful tool, yes, a gift, but its impact is totally shaped by our choices, our intentions, our hearts.
That really lands. It puts the responsibility back on us, doesn't it? How we use these powerful gifts. So if we accept that technology can be part of flourishing, how do we reclaim that? How do we, individuals and maybe society, navigate this better?
That's the practical challenge, and it starts with intentionality and bringing ethical thinking to the forefront.
Okay, like what can people actually do?
Well, on an individual level, one powerful approach is something like digital minimalism.
Which isn't about getting rid of all tech, right?
No, not at all. It's about building a more balanced, intentional relationship with it. So things like consciously deciding how and when you use social media, not just reacting.
Being proactive instead of reactive.
Exactly, and decluttering your digital life.
Yeah.
Unsubscribing from emails you never read, clearing out old files, making your digital space serve you, not the other way around.
And notifications, silencing the non-essential ones.
Huge. That constant barrage of alerts pulls us out of the present moment. Silencing them helps you live more here and now.
I found that one a total game changer personally. What about bigger breaks like a digital detox? Is that part of minimalism?
It definitely can be. Taking intentional time completely away from screens an evening or weekend allows you to reconnect with the physical world, with people, with activities like reading or just being quiet. It helps reset those ingrained habits.
Makes sense. You also mentioned rethinking efficiency earlier. We seem obsessed with making everything faster, smoother.
We are. There's almost this societal worship of efficiency, especially with tech. Faster is always better, right?
Usually feels that way.
But it's not always true. Constant efficiency isn't always the best strategy, especially when things are uncertain or complex. Sometimes a bit of friction is actually helpful.
Effective friction, what does that mean?
It means sometimes deliberately slowing down, adding a step, taking a pause. It can lead to better decisions, more creativity, better long-term well-being. Think about just stepping away from the screen for 5 minutes when you're stuck on a problem.
Right? That little bit of inefficiency often helps you solve it.
Exactly. It connects to psychological ideas like the broaden and build theory. Seemingly inefficient positive emotions, like moments of awe or joy, actually broaden our perspective and build our resources for the future. Friction can be good.
That's a fascinating countercultural idea in our tech world. Okay, so individual practices, rethinking efficiency.
Yeah,
What about the bigger picture, the ethical side?
absolutely critical. Especially now with AI becoming so pervasive, we have to grapple with the ethics.
Concerns around things like data privacy, transparency.
Yes, and data provenance, where did the data used to train the AI come from? Plus the potential for misuse, unjust surveillance, autonomous weapons.
Or even AI taking over roles that give human life meaning.
That too. These aren't just technical problems, they are deeply moral questions. And the fact that society is raising these concerns, even among people who aren't religious, points back to that idea of common grace. There's an innate moral sense at work, constraining evil.
So we need to listen to that moral sense when building and using tech.
We absolutely do. We all have a role to play as engineers designing systems, as policymakers setting rules, as consumers making choices. We need to be thoughtful influencers, pushing for technology that genuinely serves holistic human flourishing.
Holistic, meaning not just making money or being convenient, but supporting our well-being emotionally, relationally, spiritually.
Precisely. It's about the whole person, the whole society. Does this technology elevate us or diminish us?
What a journey we've taken in this deep dive.
Hmm.
We started remembering that initial, almost magical feeling about tech.
That sense of wonder, yeah.
And we explored why that seems to have faded, the enshittification, the digital overload, and addiction, maybe even a real slowdown in fundamental innovation.
Unpacking the reasons behind the feeling.
But then we shifted perspective, looking through the lens of common grace, seeing technology not just as a human invention, but as a potential expression of universal gifts intended for good, for flourishing.
Recognizing its potential, even amidst the problems, and realizing that technology itself isn't good or bad. It's a tool.
A powerful tool, and its impact comes down to our choices, our intentions, how we decide to wield these gifts.
Our stewardship is key.
So as we wrap up, maybe the question for you listening is this. Looking ahead, what steps will you take? How will you ensure your digital life isn't just about convenience, but actually contributes to your flourishing, aligns with a deeper purpose? And maybe ask yourself, is big tech taking up more space in your heart than your own vision for a truly flourishing life?